Alright, this is the second video on solving, graphing, and analyzing quadratic functions. In this video, we're going to be filling out this second graphic organizer that you see down here on the bottom. It looks like this page. So please make sure you find this page in your notebook before you continue the video lesson. Alright, so here we are looking again for the factors of the function. We are also going to do it using quadratic formula. And we're also going to look at the same thing by completing the square. What you should have noticed in the first video was that all three of those methods give you the exact same x-intercepts. X-intercepts, roots, and zeros are all the same thing. They're just different terms to mean the same thing is where the graph crosses the x-axis. Alright, so let's get into solving by factoring. Alright, so we have 2x squared minus 4x minus 6 equals 0. Here we have a common factor. The common factor that we have is a 2. So we can take a 2 out of each term, which would give us x squared minus 2x minus 3. And then you're looking for two numbers that multiply to 3 but add to negative 2. And that's going to give you x minus 3 and x plus 1 equals 0. And then when you set each one of those equal to 0 and solve for x, so you add 3 to that one, subtract 1 from that one, so we have x equals 3 and x equals negative 1. And so that is your solving by factoring. We don't have to worry about that 2 in the front because when you set 2 equal to 0, that gives you no solution. So again, let me try to slide this up so give me a little bit more room at the bottom to do some of the other parts that we have. Alright, and so then the next one is quadratic formula. I slid the factoring up just a little bit too far. Alright, quadratic formula. We're going to look at our A, B, and C values. So our A is 2. B is negative 4, and C is negative 6. So when we plug that into our formula, those two negatives are going to make a positive there. We'll put this negative 4 in parentheses, minus 4 times 2 times negative 6, all over 2 times 2. So it's going to be 4 plus or minus square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 6, which gives me a 64 over 4. Sorry. So that's going to be 4 plus or minus 8 over 4. So 4 plus 8 and 4 minus 8. That's going to be 12 over 4, which is 3. And that's going to be a negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. And so those are our x values. Alright, and then the last one that we have, or the last box that we have on this page is the completing the square process. And to complete the square, the first thing we need is to move that negative 6 to the other side. So I'll do that right here. So 2x squared minus 4x minus 6 equals 0. 2x squared minus 4x equals 6. And again, one of the things that you should remember from previous lessons that we taught on quadratic formulas, you have to divide everything by whatever values in the front. So we have x squared minus 2x equals 3. And now we're ready to put in our blanks so that we can complete the square process. So that would be 3 plus blank. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. So that's going to be x minus 1 squared equals 4. And then we'll have x minus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So we'll have x equals 1 plus or minus 2. And just in case you guys need to see that split apart, that's going to be x plus 1, or x equals 1 plus 2, and x equals 1 minus 2. So negative 1 and 3, which is exactly what you got right here when we were doing quadratic formula. So again, all three methods give us the exact same answer. And then I also included the graph that you guys saw right here. And it's a little bit clearer on the next page that those intercepts are at 3 and negative 1. So you can see that all three of those methods line up with the solving by graphing. Our discriminant is the value that's under the radical. And if you look back, that was a 64, which means we have two real solutions, or two real zeros, or simply that our graph crosses the x-axis twice, which we can verify with our graph right here, that it crosses here and here. So our axis of symmetry, here's our vertex. So there's the point for the vertex. So 1, negative 8. Again, that one is a minimum. And so our axis of symmetry is at x equals 1. Because remember, it's always that x coordinate. Our y-intercept happens at negative 6. Alright, so your y-intercept happens at negative 6. So right here, the number of zeros is 2. And those zeros happen at negative 1 and 3. We talked about domain. Domain is always going to be all real numbers for a quadratic. And our range is y greater than or equal to negative 8. Alright, so now you have two practice pages that look like these two. Find those two in your notebook and then go ahead and get started with those. Please make sure that you turn those in order to get credit for them.